like a big crowd. Makes me feel good. Yep. Back to Rosa. I got it. Richard, you want to pray for us?
Absolutely. Say, our Heavenly Father, God, we thank you for this night. Father, we just thank you, Lord, that you've given us grace, Father, and protection, Lord, from the hurricanes. And it'd be remiss, Father, if we neglected to ask you, Father, to take care of and restore the lives, Father, of all those who are affected by the ravages of the storm, Father, now and for the months and years to come. Be with those in authority as well, Father, that will make decisions, Lord, that will bring our country, Father, back to be the country, Father, that you want us to be, Father. And we also ask for your help tonight, Father, in our midst. We ask, Lord, once again, that you will give us wisdom, that all the decisions that we make and everything that's said and done will do nothing more, will do nothing less than to glorify your Son and our Savior, Jesus Christ. And it's his name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first on the agenda is approval of minutes, previous regular minutes.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Who seconded? Richard? Tim?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. All right, we'll move on to public comments. You want to come first? Regina?
Is this on? I mean, I can speak loud enough, but I really don't need it, so thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members, I appreciate the opportunity. I wanted to come tonight and introduce myself to you all. I'm Regina Sayers, and I'm currently the Executive Director with Appalachian Agency for Senior Citizens, but I'm also a candidate for the Western District Board of Supervisors, so I want to introduce myself to you all, that you know my skills and abilities and everything. So I am a Tazewell County native. My father was a coal miner, and I have 4 brothers, so I'm pretty scrappy if I need to be. I went to the School of Medical Technology, so I'm a medical technologist, and I have especially in histology as well. But I have a bachelor's in human resources and a master's in management. My work experience has been in healthcare and in public health, but for the last 7 years, I've been Executive Director of Appalachian Agency. Since my time at Appalachian Agency, and this is good to know because we are one of the largest employers in Tazewell County. We currently have over 209 employees. But in the 7 years that I've been there, I've increased that number by 65 plus jobs. And most of those jobs have been in full-time. When I was started, we had 46 full-time employees, and the rest of the employees were part-time. We now have over 90, we have close to 92 employees that are full-time. So I've taken the vision and tried to make things a lot better there at the agency. I have doubled the revenue from $6 million to $12.6 million. We had financial challenges when I started there. We are now debt-free. So we're probably one of the few businesses in the county that can say that we are debt-free. We also built a child daycare with no taxpayers' money. We use foundation and grants and good old-fashioned fundraising. We also have built a senior living community. We own 10 out of 31 mobile homes in our agency. We've made those handicapped accessible for our seniors. We do house 2 veterans there as well, and one of those was homeless for 4 years. So we brought him in from Bland County and gave him a home. We currently are working with, and we'll hope to build, we will be building a Falls Mills, a child daycare center in Falls Mills, Virginia. So we met with the architect and the county attorney today to be moving forward on that. We should start the groundbreaking and the construction after the first of the year. I have been on the governor's task force for prescription drug and heroin abuse. So I've worked very hard so that we do not arrest our way out of our prescription and substance abuse in this community. I've been on the One Care Board to introduce and pass legislation to change the way that we view some of their drugs, like Tramadol. It's now Schedule 2 instead of being Schedule 4. I've also been a member of the League Tazewell County, and I'm a chairperson so that we hope that we can bring our young citizens in, our young people in, and allow them to learn about their civic duty and become good stewards within the community. I've also been past president of the Richlands Chamber and a member of the Tazewell Chamber. I've always been a voice for the poor, for the frail and elderly, for children, for people with mental health and substance abuse issues. And I'd like to continue to serve our community. I do feel that I bring a lot of the skills that are needed, especially being a visionary and being able to, as I say, I no longer think outside the box, and I cannot coin this phrase. It came from the president or the dean of Sandy Hook Community College in Sandy Hook, Kentucky. But we now have to think geometrically on every surface angle and plane, and I also turn over every rock if I need to. So, but thank you all for the time, and I appreciate it. And if you have any questions concerning the agency, please give me a call.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Regina, I'd just like to thank you for the help you gave me years ago with those kids at the bowling alley. I don't know if I ever had the opportunity to just point blank thank you, but your hard work and dedication in assisting me with that, I want to let you know is still paying benefits to the kids of the area, as we'll be giving away over $5,000 in scholarship this money to the kids that bowled with us over 10 years ago. So thank you.
Well, that's great. And I will tell you that my son did use his scholarship to go down the route.
Good,
So,
very good,
thank you.
very good.
And Regina, I chaired the building committee when your facility was built over there, and I know you mentioned being one of the largest employers in Tazewell County. When we chose that site and built that, we had an offer of free land to be donated down in Lebanon, and I fought hard to keep that
Well, thank
here
you.
in Tazewell County.
I'm glad that you
It's-
did, because we were able to purchase the property adjacent to us, and we now own that free and clear of debt. So we did pay off that building and the building in Hayside, the adult daycare, a year and a half ago, 6 years early.
I met with the property owner initially, and he was trying to sell the agency some property down behind one of his factories, and I said, no, we want that
It's
mountain right. So he finally came around and sold us
every
that property.
time the auditors from Philadelphia for the Centers of Medicare, and of course, anyone from Richmond that comes, they say you've got $1 million view, and we tell them, yes, we do. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I helped Regina raise money for project graduation.
Sure
And everybody said, "Is your son," come up and said, "Is your son graduating?" I said, "He is actually. He was in preschool." I went and spoke baccalaureate or what it was, but I said, everybody here wants to be doctors and attorneys or whatever. And I said, my son crossed the bridge in preschool. He wanted to be a blue dinosaur. And he wanted to live outside and eat bears. So Jim Tatum played good with the bear stuff. But it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of good times. But thanks for coming. Any more public comments? Anybody else? Good? Okay, let's move on. Declaration of surplus property.
We have a couple items that are just taking up space that we would like to get declared surplus. One of them is a Rockwell Sander high-pressure washer, and Terry can give you more details about this equipment. The other is a Max 4 6-wheel ATV rubber track vehicle. And that's items we've had for several years that we obtained through the surplus property program. And we don't use those any longer, don't need them, they're in the way, so we would like to hopefully get a resolution to declare those surplus property. Do you have any other details on the equipment?
No, that's what we got.
What about the blue truck?
Well, that's something in the future we might look at, you know, it's a possibility.
What about the recording equipment of the town, since the council voted to stop recording the meetings?
There's only just a small recorder that we have, I'm not sure.
You talking about this stuff?
No,
It's
That's
this,
the PA system, but there's a recorder that attaches to it that we don't use, or haven't used.
Is that something?
is that something we want to add to the list? I'd like, if you do need a motion to consider that, or what?
I guess what we have, these three, and is this
You know,
something?
I don't know that, I was trying to think, you know, there might be meetings or special meetings or here's some occasion that somebody would need to record. It's not that valuable a piece of equipment. I mean, it's not, there's not a lot of money tied up in that recorder. It just plugs into the PA system.
It plugs in with this.
Okay, I just question the need for it, period, because every time I tried to get a copy of a recording, I was unable to obtain one. So, I mean, if it's surplus, we just need to get rid of it. If not, if you see a need for it and feel there's a need for it, then that's fine.
We can, I guess, check to see if we need it for any other meetings and put it on the agenda for next time or whatever you want to do. Whatever y'all want to do. It's up to y'all.
I make a
Sounds-
motion to sell that equipment.
Adopt the, we need to,
It will be a
motion to
motion.
adopt the
And
resolution.
the resolution is whereas code 15.2-951 Code of Virginia provides broad authorities for county, cities, and towns to acquire and to dispose of personal property for the purpose of exercising their powers and duties. Whereas the following listing of personal property which is owned by the town of Cedar Bluff no longer serves any useful purpose. Now therefore be resolved by Cedar Bluff Town Council that the following items are hereby declared surplus property. That's the Rockwell Center high pressure washer, Max 4, 6-wheel, rubber track ATV. And be it further resolved that the town manager is directed to sell or otherwise dispose of the aforementioned items as provided by law, which will be public auction.
Before we go forward with this, do we need to add the recording system if it's deemed appropriate? You know, evidently, from what you said, we don't use it now, but it may prove itself to be useful at some point in the future. I guess it's kind of like a fire extinguisher. We don't use it, but at some point we may need it. And in that regard, maybe it'd be more, it'd be better for us to keep it and not sell it, and then buy another one if we should need it in the future. I don't know. I don't understand, but I don't want to run forward with this unless we, you know, entertain the Tim was throwing out there.
But it's kind of, I mean, it's kind of up to you guys, in my opinion. I mean, I've been recording the meetings, and this cost me $30 at Walmart. So, I mean, if there is a need in the future, it's not like it would be a big expense. I mean, it works perfectly. I mean, so, I mean, I'm game for it either way. It's just something we don't use. It's the reason I brought it up.
So you making a motion to add it to it?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay. Any more discussion? Anybody got any discussion about it?
So the resolution, we're gonna vote on resolutions that stood before.
Was there a motion to adopt the resolution? Yeah.
I was afraid that if we went ahead and adopted the resolution as stated, that would leave out that piece of equipment for consideration. Yes.
Okay, any more discussion about it?
So where are we at? On 3 items, is
We're
that
on the
correct?
3 items.
Okay.
If you're making a motion to add the 4th item to it, before we, you know.
And was there a motion and a second on on those 3 items? No, okay.
Yes. Yes.
This motion is just to add the town report.
Right.
Yes.
No.
No, no.
Yes.
No.
Okay, now, do I hear a motion to adopt the resolution?
Move we adopt the resolution.
What's it? Second.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
you should just buying something if we already got it, if we need it.
We can always check the value on it. Okay, next is the revised drug-free workplace policy.
Make a motion to accept the revised drug-free workplace policy.
I second.
Any discussion?
I did have just one question posed, and it has to do with number 2 on the testing employees. As I read it, and we discussed it last week, but I just want to pose a question and see what Laura thinks about it. Would there be any circumstances where the drug testing should be mandatory? I mean, all these are maybe tests that have action to, but that was the only question I had in reading it again this week. Circumstance, injury causing death, would that be mandatory? Injury, property damage greater than $10,000? That's the only question I posed for discussion.
Where are you at, Tim? I'm sorry, where are you at as far as this
It's on
document?
the third page,
Third page,
number 2.
number 2, thanks.
So you're asking,
Just for discussion purposes, would there be any incident or any circumstance where the drug test should be mandatory?
if you're saying if there's death.
Well, I'm saying that that could be a circumstance. I just wanted to, before we pass this, for everything that says may be tested, I wanted to be sure everybody, no one has any suggestions on. Is there any incident which should be mandatory? That's the question.
Maybe put a dollar amount on the property damage or something like that.
Should there be a
because-
threshold, minimum, maximum, whatever, how you wanna look at it, for it to be a mandatory situation?
Well, number 1, says shall, that's mandatory. That
Okay.
you're tested if you know, when it
So-
says
so-
shall, that
so
is
it
mandatory,
addresses it.
yeah. In that case.
That's all. Doesn't necessarily have to be.
Everybody got a copy, and is that it? You good?
I got my comment where I wanted it, so I'm happy, but I have a question. Last month, well, actually, Mr. Stevenson raised his concern that what if an employee is notified this month that they're gonna be randomly tested next month and they're gonna be on vacation in Florida? I guess my question is, I mean, are we giving people a month's notice before they're being
No.
tested? No?
I said,
There's no prior notice.
no prior
prior
notice.
notice, okay.
What if you're gone that day that they come up here, but he said they had a backup. He straightened that up last month.
Okay, so we're not giving a month notice, good.
I was focusing on a particular item.
All right. Tim?
Yes.
Hey,
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, guess Crossroads Engineering.
They're not here, and Tim will give you an update on the water system in his department.
Yes, Sandy. We're excited.
Okay.
She's tired, probably.
You want one?
Absolutely.
You've seen this a million times already. We're very excited about our festival this year. 4 stages of music, my goodness, entertainment galore, things for children and adults alike. And, there's gonna be country music, bluegrass, there's gonna be beach music, gospel, a little bit of everything, as you can see. And so we're just really excited. Civil War encampment, antique car parade at 3 o'clock. The Wounded Warrior Project exhibit's gonna be at the Old Mill. And our show at the Cedar Bluff School, we've got the school children involved, and Wounded Warrior Project exhibit is gonna be also, if you'll notice on the back there, at the Old Mill, and that's gonna be a big thing too. Horse and carriage tours during the day, so something for everyone. So we're very excited about our festival coming up. Do you all have any questions that you'd like to ask?
I have a question.
Okay.
Are you going to have these available, for example?
Oh, yes, they will
in the
be.
school
Yes,
offices?
for those of you that have volunteered, the council members, I thank you for volunteering. Mayor Lee and his wife also said she volunteered. Tim, we thank you and your wife. Also Kenny Shepherd, thank you, Councilman, for volunteering. Also James Brown, thank you, and Rick Weiner, thank you for having concern of your festival and for welcoming all these thousands of visitors that we are going to have in our community that day. And we
I
just
didn't
want to
put mine on there,
say,
I knew.
we just want to say thank you for that. And Terry, we thank you because Terry plays a very important role in this festival that we have. Because if there's any problems with electricity or anything, any problem with vendors or whatever, we thank you. And Sean, we want to thank you also, and Mr. Brown, and all the crew here. Thank you very much for all your help with this festival, because
Yeah, the fire department, thank you so much, because Friday night we'll be using, fire department at 6 o'clock, and we'll have music there, and, we'll also have a food vendor there, so there's gonna be lots of things going on in our community. Thank you, volunteers, for doing that. Also, while I'm up here, I wanna talk for just a minute about the Cedarville Business and Professional Association, and you know, when we as a community decided years ago to form the Cedarville Business and Professional Association, our town manager, Jim McLaughlin, he was our leader. He guided us through the process of getting this all together. And the Business and Professional Association is a sponsor, as you know, of the festival and all the events that take place to welcome when we have new businesses come in. He always encourages the young families to come and live in Cedar Bluff, raise your children here, and he is always helping to shine our light in Southwest Virginia, and we are so proud, Jim, of you doing this for us and lifting us up always and not putting us down. Our Veterans Parade this year, I do want to mention to you, so you put it on your calendars, it's November the 10th. It's going to be at 10:30, and we're going to have lunch afterwards. And as always, our town manager is always involved in this Veterans Day Parade. We're getting all the school children involved in it, and some of them are going to be marching, and it's going to be a great parade. So please be sure and put that on your calendars. Last year we went out to the Jones Chapel Cemetery, and Jim helped us with that and had all of our veterans there. And so we appreciate all of our veterans. And this year, I failed to mention, we are honoring all of our military veterans this year, and we'll be giving them all a boutonniere the day of the festival. So I want to continue talking about our wonderful town manager with his expertise in getting grants. You know, we've been very fortunate in this community to have him as our town manager. Here's just a list of a few things that he's been involved in. For some of you that have not been involved in the community, here's a few things that he's done. In 1983, he encouraged the town to build our town square that is used for weddings, festivals, Christmas concerts in the square, and other town events. He was involved with the Middle Creek sewer system, worked to certify town boundaries, and extend street lining to additional neighborhoods. The Overlook Park, where it's used for several months out of the year. I was up there just Sunday with a group, having a great time. It's beautiful up there. Middle Creek Housing Project, the Town Planning Commission, and Comprehensive Plan. Also the new town shop, the town hall renovations, and street paving projects. Long-term water and sewer plant contracts. Town fire protection. TEA 21 sidewalk and street lining project. Upgrading of all town equipment, forestry grant. And without these grants, I mean, there's a lot of things that we would not have in this town. And thanks to Jim for doing this for us. The National Listed Historic District, he began the town street signs that you see out here, the Historic District. He was very helpful with getting all that, getting that out to the public. And it's still in the summer, you can see people going down the street looking at all these historic signs. And we thank you, Jim, for that, because you certainly have highlighted our community. And we also want to thank you. You balance the budget every year with stable property tax rates. And, you know, our town does have auditors, and they do give us a report here during council meetings. And they are always approved, and we thank you, Jen, for doing this and having a balanced budget. Thank you so much for all you do for our community. We thank you.
Thank you. I got one question, man. How many hours have you put in on this festival?
It's numerous. I work from one year to the
2000.
next. I'm already working on Festival 2018.
That's awesome.
And I want to commend also Sharon Slate, because Sharon puts in a lot of hours too.
Sharon
helping.
Lowe.
I mean, not Slate, Lowe.
Yeah.
But anyway, Sharon Lowe, because Sharon does put in an awful lot of hours also, because we have to, all these spaces, we have 200 vendors coming. So it's 200 spaces that we have to find for these people and try to make everybody happy.
Yeah, that's
I
great.
believe that, I know last week you were away on a little short vacation trip, and were texting me almost all day long. working
I did, I
fast-
worked the whole time I was
And
gone.
one of the
He
days,
might have been on vacation,
What?
I was.
one of those days, I was not working either, and I think you and I spent the whole day on the phone, back and forth
It
working.
takes a
on
lot,
this.
it takes a lot.
People do not realize, so that's why we love our volunteers. Thank you very much, council, appreciate
I don't
it.
think they realize the work at the town employees.
Oh, and town employees in the office.
For a town this size.
It takes all of us, and I really
You just
appreciate
can't do
our residents. Some of you live real close. You would be surprised how few complaints we get. I mean, we bring 20 to 30,000 people here on one day, and our town residents who are swamped and pretty much blocked out of their homes that day, rather than complaining, they're right out here enjoying their town and appreciate.
And helping,
So,
yeah.
we
And-
really appreciate that.
I also want to mention that the buses will be leaving from the high school and bringing them down to the Speedy Loop, and also, up at the, mall at Kmart. We have, buses up there, and they will be bringing them down also.
Okay, great.
They'll be coming to the fire station
No, from the mall.
from the Maple Hill down.
Town manager's report?
There's a thank you letter in your packet from the Historic Fableton Museum for the budgeted contribution that we made to them. On our latest T21 project, which is the historic walkway project and the street lighting and walkway project, Field Studio is working on that. We're going to be meeting. We typically have scheduled sometime before next meeting to update that. They've been working on getting some additional easements. So I think we're ready to finalize the final plan for that, and we certainly want to bring that to council and make you aware of exactly what we're doing. Hopefully I can get representatives of Hill Studio to attend the meeting when things are finalized, to let you know exactly what that project is going to look like. So, progress is being made on that. I just left right before this meeting, a meeting of the Prince River Valley Initiative, and we were updating everybody on their progress on the Virginia Scenic Rivers project, which this council has approved. The resolution, we're waiting on sponsorship and legislation to get that approved through the General Assembly. And of course, we are working towards hometown on the clinch designation. Mayor, I think you had asked me about that sometime before. So we are making progress, and this council appointed a citizen member to assist with some of these initiatives last month, and that's going to help us. We're going to get ahead much quicker by having his credentials and credit.
Go ahead and they fixed the trash truck where it was, had holes in it, they took it down, put all the new level inside of it.
Responded to 15 calls this month, done 10 traffic stops, issued 3 summonses, 9 verbal warnings, worked 2 accidents, and patrolled 1,510 miles.
Water department, Kills Department installed new hydrant and valve in Indian Springs, radiator protection valve system, fixed one main line leak, and started repairs painting at the old Kentucky shop. There was a main line leak.
Down in Short Drive.
Okay. Payment of the bill approved.
Let me mention a few of those. Check 25133 was for the repairs that we discussed last month that we completed to the garbage truck. That was some metal fabrication and welding, quite a bit of work, and they did a really good job. It's in much better shape than it was.
Which one?
25134 Atlantic Emergency Solutions was pump valve repairs for the fire department. 25141 Supply Works. The bulk of that was, we buy those usually once a year. It's litter can liners that we use all year long in the public litter receptacles. It helps with their festival and other events. And a good portion of that will be paid for by grant funds through Virginia, the litter control grant. 25146 Walmart Community, that is phone cards for the 6 months for the cell phones, town cell phones. 25162, we've already talked about, that was the contribution that was budgeted. The very last one down there, 25185 C.W. Williams, that's fire department equipment. And that's, those are just original for, just general expenditures.
Make a motion to pay the bills.
I second.
Yes.
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 Do you have anything, Richard, on the town report? Get anything? Okay. I'm sure you have, I understand. All right, next is unfinished business. Got any unfinished business?
Update on the, did we run the ad on the Gillespie property, Mr. Carter?
I have it ready to give to Mr. McLaughlin.
Okay, where will we gonna be running that at?
I'm sorry?
Where will that be ran? What newspaper, what media source?
I imagine it goes into the Richlands newsprint.
Okay.
Any more unfinished business?
I've got a few items here, Mr. Mayor, if you just bear with me a minute. Mr. Carmody, I understand that you can only really work with what you're given, but on this business that is delinquent on their meals tax and on their business license, I come into the town hall and reviewed the payment history on this, and it looks like this business came into being about 2009, and since that time they've purchased 2 business licenses and have only paid like 10 months of meals tax during that 9-year period. Does that sound about right? Does that match the information that you've been given to look into?
Most recent information, yeah.
Okay, so that you've just been recently updated on that? Because I know we discussed before, like.
Since the last meeting, yeah.
Since the last meeting, okay, great. So what we're looking at is potentially 7 years of delinquent business licenses and possibly over 90 months of delinquent meals tax?
If your multiplication is right,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. So we're going to be attempting to collect that back to 2009? Is that right?
Yeah.
Will you be contacting the Treasury's office again to see if, when you first requested that information, did you request back that far, or are you going to have to try to get more information, or?
No, we didn't request back that far, but what I'll probably do, or what I've actually already been doing, is just extrapolating it back from the first figures that we had.
Okay,
Okay, so in other words, we had started with the year 2013,
right.
and so what I'll do is do the same calculation that we used for 2013 for all the preceding time going back to August of 2009.
Okay, are we going to run into statute of limitations issues here?
41 months.
Are we going to run into statute of limitations issues here?
Well, we'll have to see about that.
Okay, but does the statute,
Meals tax is actually they're just a collection agent. There shouldn't be any statute of limitations on that, should there?
At the present time, all I can say is I don't anticipate that that's a problem.
okay. I guess my problem with this is that, my understanding is that we might have some issues as to whether we know whether this business was in operation during all this time frame. Has that concern been shared with you?
I'm going to leave it up to the business operator to prove otherwise when the assessment is made.
Okay. My concern on this is that as a citizen, I filed a FOIA request for a list of businesses that purchased a business license for the current year and those that are subject to the meals tax. And after obtaining the assistance of an attorney, I was able to get a FOIA compliant response from the town that says that we don't maintain a list of businesses in this town, or we don't maintain a list of businesses that are subject to the meals tax. That's pretty concerning to me, as this situation, I think, right here highlights the need to have those type of lists and to update them annually. so that we can verify and document those businesses that are compliant or delinquent in their financial obligations to the town. And if necessary, to start collection action before these debts become 9 years old, as may be the case here. Therefore, I move that the council request the town manager to develop and update annually a list of businesses who have purchased a business license and a list of those businesses that are subject to the meals tax, and also to document annually those businesses that are operating in the town that have not met their financial obligations to the town.
We do already maintain a list of businesses in town. The FOIA request was for a list of businesses who had purchased business licenses. We do not maintain a list. We have a file that we have each individual license in. But we do maintain a list of town businesses. We always have.
I stand on my motion, Mr. Mayor.
Do I hear a second? Have a second. All right. Any more unfinished business?
I've also had multiple people express to me their concerns that we're not advertising the police chief's job. One of the concerns that was raised to me is that that this citizen feels that it's legally required to advertise that. Mr. Carmody, do you know?
I have not found any authority that says that it has to be advertised.
Okay, I haven't either. That's
To my knowledge, the concerned citizen or citizens that you may be referring to have actually been asked if they have some legal authority that we may have overlooked that they wanted to cite to us so that we could consult with it ourselves. And I'm not aware that any authority has been given to us on that point. We have been in touch with the Virginia Municipal League, which advised us that it was not necessary for us to advertise that position. So if there's some contrary authority, I'd be happy to hear what it is so that we can look at it, but I'm not knowledgeable of any at this point.
okay, good. The other concern that I've heard from multiple individuals is that we need as much managerial experience in this position as that we can get within the constraints of the salary that we can afford to pay. The example shared to me on a couple occasions was experience in writing the grant applications as they apply to the police department. So to address these concerns, I make a motion that we advertise the position of police chief.
Do I hear a second? On the advertising? No second? All right. Any more unfinished?
As far as writing these checks to people that owe monies to the town, by the lack of a second to my motion last month to have the treasurer to withhold these checks to people who owe monies to the town, this council has effectively relieved him of a duty that's given to him by the town charter. We don't have the power to change the town charter. Only the General Assembly can make changes to our charter. As I see it, we only have two choices here. We either require the treasurer to withhold these checks or ask the General Assembly to remove this duty from our charter. Mr. Carmody, do you see it different than the opinion I've expressed?
I'm not in a position to render an opinion about those things unless the council requests me to do that. Or the town manager.
Okay. Just a second, Mr. Mayor. Okay, as I say, this is a duty given by the town charter. We don't have the authority to relieve him of that duty. So therefore, I renew my motion to instruct the town treasurer to withhold checks to entities who have debts owed to the town.
You say you would move it? What'd you say? I'm sorry.
Repeat the motion. Is that what you asked me?
Yeah,
I renew my motion to instruct the town treasurer to withhold checks to entities who have debts owed to this town
okay.
in accordance with his duty as outlined in the town charter.
Second. Any more unfinished business?
I'm done.
Okay, new business. Any new business?
I got, Mr. Carmody, this is at the June 2013 council meeting, this council unanimously passed a resolution electing to provide health care insurance coverage to retirees and their dependents. If you will, James, pass that down, Mr. Carmody. As far as you know, Mr. Carmody, has this resolution been amended or revoked, or is it still in force as it is? As written there?
The town manager would have to tell you whether or not any resolution
copies of that?
has been
Oh,
changed.
yeah, here, everybody.
According to whatever the town record.
Here's one for everybody. Here's one for anybody that wants to look at what
We
I'm
do
speaking
provide
about here.
health
Anybody want to look at
insurance,
it?
but it's 100% at the expense of the employee, the town doesn't. We make it available, but we don't pay any cost.
Well, I gave mine away, so Terry, I'm going to share yours.
I've seen it.
Okay, I'll take it, John. Okay,
What part are you talking about?
well, I guess right now so this is the policy that's still in force, this resolution that was passed by the council in June 2013?
Yes, I think that's the term.
Okay, and could you, I'm sorry, could you repeat what you said about 100% pay, by who and what?
Right, we make this insurance available to the employees, but the employees are responsible for 100% of the cost.
Okay, is that the way you read this resolution, Mr. Carney? Because I don't read it that way. I read it says that the town will provide coverage. I see no mention of any cost to the employee in the resolution passed by this council. This council is the policymaker of this town. And if this was the resolution that was in force, it says that the town will provide coverage to retirees who have 5 years of service that are age 55 or 10 years of service at age 50. There's no mention of cost. Now, I did come into the town hall yesterday and got the most recent copy of the employee handbook. Now, in the employee handbook, it does say that it is at the 100% cost of the employee. But the employee handbook's not controlling here. The decision and the resolution passed by the town council is controlling, and there's no mention of cost to the employee.
When this was adopted, I believe the state, the insurance program actually gave us this blanket resolution to adopt. And the council adopted this. That was questions they raised, and it was made very clear this would be 100% at the cost of the employees when this resolution was adopted. And this wording, and the best I remember, the state, or the VOL insurance or the local choice in this case, gave us this sample resolution and said, this is what you need to tell us. But it's always been, and we also fill out a paperwork each year with the local choice, and it's always been 100% paid for by the employee. And that's what council intended.
Okay, the intention of the council, to me, is not clear at all in this resolution. Mr. Carmody, how do you interpret this resolution?
As I've already stated, Mr. Altizer, I render legal opinions at the request of the council or the town manager.
Okay.
Not the individual members of the council.
Okay. I certainly see no mention of any cost in this resolution. So if that indeed is the intention of this council, is that that what is wrote into the employee handbook is that cost be 100% bore by the employee, then I make the motion that we amend this resolution to state that fact, that the employee will pay 100%, because it certainly does not read like that to me.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Do I hear a second? I'll give you time to read it. Has everybody read it? Richard?
I've just looked it over.
Go ahead, take your time.
And like I said, this resolution was given to us by the provider And we provide the insurance, but this does not address the cost.
Well, if each employee gets a handbook and it states in there that they would pay 100% of the dependent, I mean, why would you want to change anything?
Because the
They get a
hand,
handbook when they're hired.
And the insurance company knew when they adopted this, that we weren't paying any of it.
the handbook's not controlling here. What is controlling is the resolution passed by the policymakers of this town, which is the council.
Did it go by this resolution, Mr. Altizer, or did it go by the employee handbook?
We're the policymakers.
I understand.
So they will go by the policy as passed by this council, which is this resolution that was passed by the council. And there is no mention of cost to the employee in this resolution. And that's why I suggest that if that was and is the true intention of this council, that the employee pay 100% of it, that this needs to be amended to reflect that.
Can we table this to be looked at, if we need to do that? Or do we need to just,
I would like to.
I mean, what's on the table is the employee's handbook. Help us out, Jim.
There's really no conflict. This ordinance says we provide it. We either have a choice of providing health care, or coverage to retirees, or we don't provide it. This resolution does not address cost. Council separately
Okay,
is always
because it's a
maintained.
resolution, it's not,
Right, and this was provided to me by the healthcare. You know, that's what they needed to hear from us, that when we have a retiree, that we are authorized to offer coverage to them. We do not pay the cost, and that's always been the case, and this is the way
so
they,
there's no conflict,
no.
okay.
In my-
I understand.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
This is, to a big degree, this is my skill set with the wording and all.
We're discussing
and
for a
it's not-
second.
Reading the last whereas, it says it does not have, we don't have a policy in place to provide coverage to retirees and their dependents. Now, Cedar Bluff does hereby elect to provide coverage. In my mind, my naive mind, it sounds as though we're going to, even though you said that in the handbook, it says that we do not. If that's the case, then that is conflict.
No, the handbook says that we do make it available to
We'll
them
make it
at 100% of the cost of the employee.
And it provides the cost.
But it says, okay,
See, this is.
So it's just a resolution.
right,
The
I
hand,
understand, okay.
Handbook.
And this, when we went through this is the resolution that the healthcare providers that you need to adopt to authorize us to make your healthcare plan available to your retirees.
Same way we did
that choose to
mine.
do it. And we did choose to do it, but at 100% cost of the employee.
And then the employee handbook addresses the cost.
Yeah, well, and the council addressed, the council discussed that when we adopted this.
Somebody, but it ain't mine. That's self-information. Somebody who buys them.
Okay, okay.
what was that? What was that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
He said this cannot be used to force our hands to pay an employee's health costs.
I think that's a question that we need to have Mr. Carmody possibly weigh in on as a council.
That's a liability.
Exactly. And I agree with your interpretation, Mr. Widener, is that there is ambiguity here. And I don't agree that the employee handbook is the controlling document. The controlling document here is the resolution itself. Now, that's my opinion.
We got a motion.
So, has it been seconded, Mr. Mayor?
That's what I was waiting, you give the
Okay,
motion.
can I withdraw it and change my motion? Can I is that,
Well, I've already got one, it's
Oh,
on the
you-
floor, I gotta.
or you can ask for a second, then I'll go from there.
Do I hear a second on the first motion? Okay, no second.
Okay, I make the motion that we as a council, as a group, have Mr. Carmody look into the questions that have been raised as to whether there's any ambiguity into the resolution passed by the council previously.
Okay, now, do I have a second?
I second that.
Got a second? Okay,
Yeah.
any more discussion? So what we're gonna do is get him to check into the conflict.
That's what I'm asking for.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yes.
No.
Yes. Look into it, make sure there's no conflict.
We got a tie, so I say yes. He won't answer me until you He put it out there anyway, so I wanna know. Right?
You broke the tie.
That's what you wanted, there you go. Okay, any more new business? Any more new business? Okay. Do I hear a motion? Any type of closed session?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Yes.
I get ready to elbow you.
That was good. You weren't getting ready to go, "Hey." Instead of "aye," you was gonna get, "Hey." Works for me. Okay.
How you doing, Jeff?
Jeff, are you walking? Are you walking? He doesn't, he's tired of walking. You are. Another 25